Hi guys, this is an example FOA. It's based on the 2015 advertisement Force of Black for the Adidas sporting goods company. I'll be sitting here doing the FOA. I'll have a link to the advertisement below this video on YouTube for you to check. The way I do this FOA is a fairly conventional sort of spoken presentation, but I should just remind you that there are many ways the FOA can be done. It can be a role play, it can be a debate or a discussion. I'm just going to do it in this style just to show you one of the approaches that can be taken. Okay, I'll just time myself so that I don't run over time. The advertisement I will be analysing today is an advertisement for the Adidas sporting goods company, and it utilises the New Zealand rugby team, the All Blacks. They are the current world champions and world number one, and therefore this advertisement associates Adidas with sporting prowess leading to invincibility. The important context is that this has come out, this advertisement, just before the Rugby World Cup in 2015. In this advertisement, shots of the All Blacks standing and acting aggressively are mixed with shots of wild animals, forces of nature such as twisters and volcanoes. And the voiceover states in a deep voice with a strong New Zealand accent, so I'll be able to do this, is it says, "It's inside us, beating in our hearts, pumping through our veins. It strengthens every sense. It makes us more determined, more focused, more relentless. Koa e mate wheke, me mate ururoa," which means don't die like the octopus, die like the hammerhead shark. If we accept that the All Blacks are represented as ideal men here, then according to this advertisement, the ideal man is a warrior or even a predator. Real masculinity is portrayed as being instinctively combative, and this inherent aggression in the ideal warrior predator is represented as being an unstoppable force. Firstly, I'd just like to briefly describe how aggression is highlighted in this advertisement. The advertisement highlights the confrontational, combative nature of the All Blacks. In doing this, it portrays masculinity as being warlike. There's, for example, a close-up of a fist clenched, and that can represent, through metonymy, the idea of violence or aggression. The use of black and white in the advertisement might emphasize conflict. And as the voiceover is speaking, it builds in depth and volume in a warlike tone. There's the use of extreme close-ups, especially of the mouth, twisted downward with teeth bared, and the facial expressions which are shown in close-up or medium close-up are serious and unsmiling, and the faces twist aggressively. Warrior imagery is perhaps evoked in tattoos on a flexed arm, and the use of an indigenous language, Māori, is used, which might be associated, perhaps by some, with a warrior culture. And the use of imperative in the proverb, "Don't die like the octopus, die like the hammerhead shark," is aggressive with violent imagery of death. Even if you don't know Māori, the statement is delivered in a harsh and demanding voice, and the aggression is evident. Now, as well as being maybe offensive to people who disagree with the ideal of a man as a warrior, also Indigenous people might be offended at the use of Māori proverbs and the haka, traditional tattoos, to perpetuate an idea of Indigenous people as being warlike. And of course the use of an Indigenous culture to make money through advertising might also seem insulting. But it isn't just warrior kind of aggression that is shown. Kind of a predatory kind of aggression is represented in the advertisement also. There's imagery of wild cats, like lions, cheetahs, and jaguars, shown in different shots juxtaposed with the All Blacks. And there's an extreme close-up of an All Black's pupil constricting in much the same way as predator cats' eyes can dilate and constrict. There's a close-up of the hairs on an All Black's arm standing up, like the hairs on an animal as it gets ready for fight or flight or aggression. So in all of these ways, a kind of hunter, predator kind of image is associated with masculinity through representing the All Blacks in these ways. Even I thought Manonu's hair, well, I shouldn't do this, Manonu's braided hair might remind some audiences of the film Predator, where the predator in those films has like almost braid-like hair as well. And to add to all of this animal, hunter, predator imagery, the proverb about the hammerhead shark, a man-eating predator, again drives home the idea of the ideal man, perhaps, as being like a wild animal that hunts. And this ties into the idea of instinctive behavior. But just before I go on to that, I would like to say that this depiction of the ideal man as being an animal-like or brutish creature might be seen as dehumanizing men in a kind of a derogatory way. Men are being represented as being beast-like. And as I was about to go on and say, this can be emphasized in the advertisement by the idea that people, that men, in their aggression, in their combativeness, in their confrontational approach, are instinctively so, that it's part of the makeup of the male, of the man. I've written here that the aggression is depicted as being inbuilt in the ideal male. There's the Foley effect of a heart beating, and this suggests that the combativeness that men feel is deeply part of themselves, as much as a heartbeat. And the voiceover starts with the simple sentence, "It's inside us," which highlights that the desire to battle and to hunt is inherent in men. This is further emphasized by an extreme close-up of cells. This suggests that men are full of aggression because of their genetic blueprint. And the metaphor is used to reinforce this. The desire to hunt and fight is beating in our hearts, pumping in our veins. The use of comparatives, and the idea that we are more determined, more focused, and more relentless, can be seen that suggesting that the All Blacks are better than others. Especially true given that the All Blacks are number one. This is a potentially controversial reading because it seems to suggest that the All Blacks are just genetically better than others. Instinctively, in their DNA, they are superior. The idea that some people can be superior just in their genetic makeup is potentially extremely offensive. It is especially so if this ad is suggesting that violent, predatory men are superior to other people. This ad might suggest that the instinctive, warrior-like, predator-like aggression of the ideal male makes them an unstoppable force. There's shots of twisters, volcanoes, and violent storms intercut with images of the All Blacks. And the common expression, force of nature, is altered to read force of black. Similarly to a violent storm, the All Blacks will destroy everything in their path. In this way, Adidas is associating its products with inherent warlikeness, leading to inevitable triumph. Controversially, it's perhaps perpetuating an unhelpful stereotype of the ideal male as being inherently combative and dangerous. The representation of masculinity as being confrontational, combative, lethal, and the suggestion that this is just inherently in the superior male can be seen then as being highly problematic to some people. However, it can be argued that the way these representations have been put together in this advertisement, and the culture in some places that kind of accepts the ideology that men need to be confrontational, aggressive, physically forceful, and that a real man is just born in this way. Cultures that accept these viewpoints and values will perhaps find that this advertisement suits them very well and may therefore be seen and effective in what it's aiming to do.